In Washington, D.C., lawmakers are unable to agree on sanctions to deter Russian President Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine, even as President Biden says an attack could come any day. But retired four-star general and former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO, General Phil Breedlove, told NewsNation's Leland Vittert last night that historically sanctions haven't always gotten the job done.
We've heard many say that the sanctions have affected Russia. Well, that's all well and good, but what it has not done is changed Russia's behavior, because here we are again. So we need to make sure this time that both the sanctions and, as you were asking, the military actions that we take are adequate to task.
And Leland Vittert, host of On Balance with Leland Vittert, joins me now. He spent several years working abroad as a correspondent, including in Ukraine in 2014, while the Russian militia were annexing part of the country. Leland, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ruta.
Okay, so you spoke, we just heard, with the former leader of NATO, General Phil Breedlove, about what led to parts of Ukraine being taken over in the first place. What did he tell you about that?
The probably biggest message from the former Supreme Allied Commander was weakness is provocative. And so far, the United States, even going back to the years of George W. Bush in 2008, so this is not a partisan issue, has yet to be willing to extract a price from Vladimir Putin, which is greater than the price Vladimir Putin is willing to pay for whatever he wants. He's willing to be the world's pariah. And when it comes to the issue of sanctions, and you were talking about whether or not there was going to be some kind of congressional action on this, there is yet to be sanctions that are placed on Vladimir Putin that are so punishing. By that, I mean delisting his banks from the World Banking Organization called SWIFT, personally sanctioning, restricting his inner circle of oligarchs, going after his own Swiss and Panamanian and Dubai-based bank accounts where there is tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. None of those things have been done. Therefore, you can put all sorts of sanctions on people. It's almost like a young child that if you keep yelling at him and telling him, I'm going to spank you, I'm going to spank you, but then you never actually spank them hard enough to get the message through, the child keeps doing exactly what the child wants to do.
Okay, so the Western powers are saying he could invade any day. We've been hearing that for a while now. New reports now showing up to 190,000 Russian troops now at the border. What do you make of Putin's timing here? I mean, he does have multiple routes to seize parts of Ukraine. What is his strategy? What is he waiting for if that is, in fact, his intention?
That's a great question. Why hasn't he just gone and done it? And you point out 190,000 troops is 40,000 more than in the beginning of the week when the Russians said they were pulling troops back. So you kind of know that the Russians are lying when their lips are moving. This proves it. But one of the things he's waiting for is he's sort of enjoying this. Vladimir Putin enjoys being on the world stage. He enjoys that everyone is now kowtowing and answering to Russia, and everyone is reacting to him. And he's gauging the reaction, right? Kamala Harris, the vice president, is in Germany right now. He's waiting to see how much the Germans actually are willing to stand up to their commitments to Ukraine versus selling out because the Russians control so much of the Germans' gas. He's enjoying watching the geopolitical fractures that are happening. Imagine a laser pointer, if you will, and that's Vladimir Putin and the red dot. And now all of a sudden he has the rest of the world chasing the red dot like a cat in a YouTube video. The slightly larger point here as to when and why he might move in is that the longer he gets everybody to chase the red dot, so to speak, the more he learns, and also the more he can extract in terms of a price to not go in.
All right, Leland Vittert, thank you for that analysis. And you can watch On Balance with Leland Vittert tonight and every weeknight right here on NewsNation. It starts at 7 Eastern, 6 o'clock Central.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.